and welcome to the latest, greatest episode of Game Rivals. I am one of your hosts, Maximilian X. Together with me, as always, is the magnificent SeanTemplar. How are you doing, SeanTemplar?
I'm good. I'm good. It's been a while since we've done this, so I'm excited to get back into it.
Yeah, same here, same here. There's lots to talk about, even though we are in what was supposed to be the week of E3. Um, of course,
Yeah.
like most things, it was canceled due to the virus which shall not be named. Um, but that doesn't mean that the video game news stopped. It keeps going. Everything keeps going forward in different ways as they would have normally gone. But we still have a lot of things to talk about. So let's just jump into it with a bit of news that Sean Templar was, I'm sure, pretty giddy about. Right, Sean? I mean,
I don't.
I'm assuming because I know that you like this franchise, and the fact that this is happening is, I'm sure, really cool for you. So take it away.
Yeah. I don't know if giddy is the right word. I would say excited, mind blown, surprised, happy, ecstatic. Just those words. Um, Total War Troy, which is a game, it's supposed to come out this year. It got a release date. It's August 13 or 14, I believe, that it's coming out. And
Yep,
in a
August
surprise
13th.
move, Sega made a deal with the Epic Game Store that the game will be for free for the first day it comes out, which is unprecedented because it doesn't happen that like that, or it actually I can't remember anything like that. The reason Sega gave behind the idea was that um, they want to introduce more fans to the RTS genre because, as we all know, and I've mentioned this a gazillion times, RTS games don't really come out that often anymore. I think like 10 years ago, it was a flood of RTS games, and these days it's like maybe one or two good ones a year. I think it's become more of a niche genre. Um, I I personally love RTS games, but people know that as well. And so this is a surprise move. It's not a fully fledged Total War game. So how it works is that Creative Assembly has their main Total War games, such as Warhammer and Three Kingdoms that came out, and in between they try to make these smaller games that focus on a specific era. So, for example, the first game they tried with this was Total War Britannia. So it was a little smaller in scale. It didn't have the full fledged retail pricing as well. It was a bit cheaper, and it
Did
focused
it
on the
have Vikings?
yeah, it focused on the barbarians and the Viking era in England of the time. So it was really
Sweet.
focused on that. This one is focused on the Trojan War, and it's supposed to have elements from Total War Three Kingdoms. But for people that play Total War Three Kingdoms and in the war stories that I have told, the heroes in Total War Three Kingdoms romance mode can be so strong that they can take on a whole army. I had a match a couple of months ago in which my whole army got wiped out, and I had two heroes left, and those two heroes literally, a la Lord of the Rings, butchered the whole enemy army, and I still won the battle. Which was a pretty epic moment for me because I was playing co-op with a friend of mine and he was spectating. And when my army died, he said, "Okay, it's done, man. You're not gonna win this one." And I said, "Okay, max casualties. We need to kill as much as we can so that when we strike back, we have a better chance of winning." So yeah, you should do that. And then all of a sudden, my two heroes go ham and they just slaughter the entire army, and we were both like, "What the hell just happened? I thought this wasn't possible." So it's going to be less like that, but there will be famous heroes like Achilles and Hector. I read some previews last week, and the focus is more on infantry combat. So, for example, in the other games, you have more horse, you have cavalries, you have siege weapons and stuff like that. So there's a little bit more focus on infantry combat, and there's also a lot bigger diversity in the infantry units because generally in total in Three Kingdoms you have maybe two or three kind of spearmen, two or three kind of swordsmen, and then it's more like it's an entry level tier, it's a mid level tier, and it's a high level tier, and in some cases there are like legendary tiers. But it's supposed to have a lot more diverse infantry combat, and also it seems that I have lost my feed to Maximilian. Stay
Ah,
with us. Oh,
okay, you're
there
back
he
again.
is. Okay, was I gone?
Okay. Yeah, you were like just like it turned gray and
Oh, that's funny
looked
because you
weird.
were gone as well. So I don't know what's the last thing you heard.
I think the last thing was where you were explaining how the infantry was working.
Okay. Oh, because it showed that mine was recording, so maybe I'll just you'll have to edit it out if it's in there twice. So like basically,
Okay.
the infantry is it's more focused on infantry, so there are a lot more diverse infantry units in there. Whereas with Total War Three Kingdoms, you had a couple of spearmen units, a couple of swordsman units, and that was it. So it was like an entry tier, a mid tier, and a high level tier. But now it's supposed to have a lot more different kind of infantry units in it, and it's also supposed to be like that the units have really specific roles. So, for example, one infantry unit will be really good at fast attacks and striking, so that they can quickly swoop in, deal some damage, and then pull back. Whereas for example, they gave an example that the Achilles' men are really good at that. And for example, Hector's men are really more defensive, so they can really hold a line and take more of a beating, while other units, for example, sweep around and flank them. So it's cool to see that you have those play styles because now with Three Kingdoms, it's always like, okay, I have my super low units that kind of are just cannon fodder, and then I have my strong units behind it that protect my archers. So I try to kill as much as I can with my archers, and at the same time, while I hold the line, I have my cavalry flanking from the back. So it's cool to see that you're going to have to change your strategy around a bit. The funny thing is that the game also has a Steam page. It's had it since the announcement of the game. So this is kind of a strange move since the game suddenly got an exclusive Epic Games
For a whole
release.
year.
Yeah, so I don't think the people at Valve are happy with that. But hey, in these
I
days,
think that's
loyalty
probably
doesn't
the
matter.
reason why they did the whole 24 hours thing.
I think so as well. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
To like nip it in the bud.
Yeah, I mean, like, I hope that this introduces more fans to the genre because strategy games are it's a pretty time consuming genre. You have to really like it. But for
Mhm.
example, I have had moments since Three Kingdoms came out on and off that I've played it for a really long time in a certain time window, and then I just stopped and I came back later. So since the release, I think it's almost been a year since it came out that I've had like these 3 or 4 moments that I play a lot in a short window, then I just stop, I play something else, and I always keep coming back. And I still have the base game with the free DLC they gave. So there are also mini expansion packs you can buy that add a whole lot of content. I haven't even bought those yet. And I've had so much fun and time with the base game. Funny thing is I always keep playing with the same hero because he's my favorite hero. But I've noticed that every time I start a new campaign, the campaign always takes a different course. And also because of the updates they bring out, the start of the campaign is never the same. So it's always something
Oh, okay.
different. So every time when I come back, I have like this completely different experience. And I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. I didn't know this. So yeah, I even started playing Shogun 2 last month. But I noticed like I'm really used to Three Kingdoms. So when you kind of play that, you want everything to be like that because it's just so complete and so nice. Um, so yeah, it's only 2 months or something like that before Troy comes out. So I can't wait. I hope I'll be able to get it on the first day. I was intending
Oh,
on buying it
I
anyway.
put that stuff in the agenda.
Yeah, but I mean, like
Like,
for example, last month GTA 5 was free on the Epic Game
oh
Store,
right.
and they couldn't handle the traffic. So
And in this case, you only have literally a day to do it.
yeah, yeah, and I wasn't. I wanted to buy the game anyways, but I mean, like, hey, if I can save money on buying the games, that's extra nice, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So here's hoping Epic up their server capacity, and I'll just be able to swoop in, get the game, download it. I don't know if I should play it on day one because sometimes Creative Assembly needs like this period to kind of get the game stable and patch it properly after game launches. But we'll see.
Well, that's one way to look at
I
it.
mean, I mean, when Rome 2 came out, it was a complete mess. They admitted it. It was such a complete utter mess that they just went into this moment of that they stopped creating new content, and they focused on getting the game up to a certain level of polish before they would introduce new content. But by then, I had already stopped playing the game. So when I went back like 2 years after, it was really good.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Well,
that's just a new normal that people just bring out a game and it's not up to par and they just fix it afterwards.
they shouldn't, but
No, but it's the new normal. I think it's I mean it's UB's strategy for years now. So and they know that they're good at it and they know that people forgive them for it, but wouldn't it be nice if just a Ubisoft game comes out and it's just good on day one?
hmm that would be something, all right.
Yeah.
Especially the amount of people that work on those games.
Yeah, I mean 12 studios, come on, man. That's a waste of resources if you can't get a game to work properly.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of getting something to work properly, um, Epic had to do that as well with the Unreal Engine 5 demo, or specifically with Unreal Engine 5 in general, because they had to partially rewrite the code of of the engine to take advantage of the super fast SSD that's in the PlayStation 5, which is really cool if you think about. Oh, if you think about it, if you realize that an engine is built so that everybody can use it, and it takes advantage of the systems that it's running on. So the fact that they had to do this is showing the dedication, at least on their end, to have it run the best possible on PlayStation 5. It also says that the PlayStation 5's SSD is something that even Epic has never encountered before, and they had to tackle it so that it would run the best possible on PlayStation 5. Which I'm really curious about because what does that mean for the performance on the Series X?
I think the
Because
Series X will
it's
benefit
not
from it.
using an SSD that's as fast.
Yeah, but I think in this case, what kind of happens is you kind of innovate to fix a problem, and then the innovations and the learnings you have from that will probably in a way trickle down into something that's also beneficial for the SSD of the Series X. They might come up with a new compression algorithm or a new way of coding or a new way of loading in data faster. So I think in the end it will benefit the Series X as well because they're like, oh, we learned this and this and this and this, and we can also apply it on the Series X. So you'll still have that bigger advantage or bigger difference on the PlayStation 5, but it won't be like it won't be a day and night difference as between a hard drive and an SSD. So it won't be like that.
Yeah. Um. Well, that also goes back to what Cerny was talking about during that GDC presentation, where he was going on about how quick the SSD was and how they were going to make sure that even if you buy an SSD expansion off the shelf, that it would be compatible enough to work as an extension, because there's
Yeah.
nothing that is as fast as what's going to be in the PlayStation 5, at least commercially, until maybe when the PlayStation 5 launches. And the same thing also goes for the whole deal with the backwards compatibility, that the PlayStation 5 is just so fast that it might present challenges for having that the having backwards compatibility work as it's supposed to. So
I mean, I read an article the other day, and they said that, and I think that's true. They said that like yes, the PlayStation has such a fast SSD, but it's really proprietary, and only first party games will actually benefit from it, and that third
mhm.
parties will basically just use it the most basic level because they simply don't want to put the time and the resources in it to get it up to that level. So I think that first party titles will like really shine when it comes to taking advantage of it all, and in other games it will be just like faster load times maybe or something like that.
I mean, I'm assuming that'll be the case until um, Unreal Engine 5 is out, because I'm assuming the developers that are using Unreal Engine as their base of developing games, those will have little problems once that is out, but that's still about a year or so out. Um, I am curious though what I haven't checked it out yet, but I don't know what the compatibility is right now with, say, Unity 3D as a game engine or CryEngine. What is the compatibility there? We don't know. Um, we know that IdTech is also, I'm sure that they're also working on compatibility with the next generation of consoles. I mean, these days, most people don't even build their own engine from scratch unless they're, I don't know, a big enough studio to do so. And even then, I mean, if you look back at, say, um, Square Enix with the Luminous engine, the only game that ever really took advantage of that was Final Fantasy 15. And that's probably because they had to work real hard to get that engine to do what they wanted. I mean, for Final Fantasy 7 remake, they used Unreal Engine. So
Yeah,
even though they've invested so much into their own engine.
but I think that we're getting to the point that it's more viable to use middleware and to use something kind of pre-made instead of. I think like only first parties will actually build their custom engines because they get the time and the resources to do it, because there's
Exactly.
also a kind of an expectancy of them to say like, okay, Naughty Dog, you are one of our best studios. We expect you to create a game that will show the true potential of our new console, because your game will sell units equaling more money and resources for you to make even better games. So it's kind of like a win-win for the studio and the publisher. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. But if for example, because if I'm thinking about it, I can't really think of a Sony game that uses Unreal Engine, or they probably have in the past, but these last few
Mm.
years, I mean, Guerrilla has their own engine, Naughty Dog has their own engine, uh, Bend Studio, the guys behind Days Gone, I think they have their own engine. And it's also because, and then maybe that's mainly attributed to how Sony deals with it, is that within Sony Worldwide Studios, there's this technology group that shares technology internally. So if the guys at Guerrilla have a certain technology they develop for their engine, they either share their insights and their knowledge around it, or they just share the whole engine. Because the Guerrilla engine, I forget the name, was something with the Decima. Decima,
Hmm.
for example, powered Death Stranding, but it also powered
Yep.
Until Dawn. So it's also being used in other games. So they constantly keep sharing their knowledge. Same goes for the God of War guys. They work really closely with Naughty Dog, for example, for technological stuff on them. So within Sony, there's this culture of sharing technology, whereas you can see it. EA is trying to do that as well, but it's not working as they would want it, because EA is kind of trying to push everybody to use Frostbite, but
Ugh.
Frostbite is built as an FPS engine first, and I mean Mass Effect struggled with it,
Mhm.
Anthem struggled with it. So
FIFA struggles with it.
yeah, so there's the good and the bad side of doing that.
Yeah. I mean, I hope that if they do, actually, the thing that I'm hoping for is that Dice actually makes a new version of the Frostbite engine that's just like an engine, not an engine that's specifically made for a specific kind of game. Because that was that was the issue that previous Unreal engines had before, right?
Yeah,
They were specifically made for first-person shooters. Like I think with Unreal Engine 2 or 3 is when they tried to make it a bit more malleable. But
wait,
again, you only saw that it was only being used in first person games.
yeah, or
With
third
Unreal
person.
Engine or third person, which still didn't look that great. But with Unreal Engine 4, they totally made an engine that is viable in multiple settings, which is
Yeah,
really cool.
yeah. I remember that.
Not so much open world, but still decent enough.
Yeah, early Unreal 3 engine had a lot of texture popping issues. So you would see that in
Ooh.
Gears of War and in other games, that the game would load the level, and then maybe 10 seconds later it would load in all the textures. So you would get all these details pop in all of a sudden, like pow, and then like, whoa, wow, this is pretty detailed. Whoa. And it would happen
I
all the time.
remember.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh man, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh man, it still kind of happens with Unreal Engine 4 though, depending on the game. Like depending on the developer, depending on the kind of game, it still happens like
It's still in
picture
Gears
popping. Where
Tactics. I've seen it a
yeah,
couple of times in Gears Tactics. It's maybe less, or they kind of hide it in a good way. But for example, with I remember in the beginning of the Unreal 3 engine days, it was a big difference. You would literally be, it would be almost like an explosion happening of details, like bam, and I'm like, oh wow, okay, wow, this looks good after 10
yeah.
seconds.
Oh man, that was fun to see though.
Yeah,
But who knows, man? The future is what they make it, and I guess we'll see in 2021 how that looks like for Unreal Engine.
yeah. I mean, they said that Unreal Engine 5 is coming out like later 2021, besides
Hmm.
Fortnite and all those stuff transitioning to it. So we'll get an early glimpse of it. Um, we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, Unreal Engine 4 already runs on the PS5. They said there's going to be like an update that's going to do it. But after you've seen what the Unreal Engine 5 does, you kind of don't want to wait. And they're like, oh, but we know that this super cool, amazing technology is coming. Why don't we have it right now?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So speaking of time, what is the next article?
Well, we can go from basic things like we'll go with a simple one. EA Play was supposed to happen this week, and it got postponed by a week. We understand, of
Hmm.
course, due to the things that are happening in the news and in the world. Sony had a reveal event planned for last week. They also pushed it.
Hmm.
Luckily, they announced
The
a new date, which is tonight at
hmm.
10 our time. So.
Yep.
Um, it's going to be really
By the time
exciting.
you're listening to this, it would have happened, and you'll be hearing what we'll be talking about. So
Well, I don't know if people will be able to hear, because if it is what I think and hope it is, their ears will hurt because of my super excited voice screaming into this microphone that I just can't wait, and I'm so super
please,
stoked.
please don't. I'm plugged in with earphones, so please don't.
Everybody should schedule a doctor's appointment for their hearing tomorrow. So,
Yeah. Oh, that's
yeah,
gonna be wild though.
yeah.
Um,
Destiny
but yeah.
2 had a stream yesterday, I think.
Yep.
You watched
Well,
it. I just read the
it
highlights.
had a stream on Tuesday.
Okay, that was yesterday,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, for us.
Oh yeah, wow.
Way to
I
break the immersion, dude.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Whoa, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So Tuesday
yeah, and,
they
you
had a
watched
thing.
it. I just read the
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah.
yeah,
It was serene. I mean, the way it started, they started with a moment of silence, and when I say a moment, the moment was
the 8
the
minutes and
the
45
the eight
46.
minutes and 40 seconds that the police officer had their neck in George Floyd's or knee in George Floyd's neck.
Yeah, that was pretty,
Savage.
yeah, pretty, intense.
So that was also really weird to see in the chat because I was watching it on YouTube, and you still have those very insensitive people that were just like, I just want to see what you're gonna give us while you're doing this. Luckily, most of the people in the chat were supportive of that they were doing this and showing solidarity. Um,
You know
and
what my
yeah,
issue is
like
with the whole thing? Because, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with me, and people might give me some hate for this, but that's just the way I see it. The things that are happening in the world, we're in this unprecedented time that there are things that are coming out that it was like a how do you say that, a pressure cooker waiting to explode. So it's good that it's happening.
yeah,
This is an issue that has been there for years, for decades, and it's finally time that we address this and that we find a solution for it. The only thing that I don't like about it is that certain companies start to do it not because they believe in it, but because they do it more from a, well, we have to do this, otherwise we will get backlash from our customers or from our fans. So we just
they're
have
doing it
to
for
do.
brownie points. Yeah,
Yeah, for example, I started up Call of Duty the other day. It's been a while since I played it, and I'm constantly being bombarded with Black Lives Matters, and then a lot of text around it in the load screen, in the in between screen between loading the map when you start up the game. But it really felt like we're doing this because otherwise people will hate us or bash us, and not because we believe in this cause and this is an issue that we need to address right now. Same goes for social media. You know, I see influencers and whatnot all just talking about. I'm like, don't do this to get more followers or new fans or whatever. Either do it because you believe in it, or shut up, because otherwise you're gonna be like a war profiteer and just gonna profit off of it, and then nobody will believe in you. No.
Well, I can't speak for every company or influencer or what have you that does it. I do feel like the reason why Activision did it for Call of Duty is because that is one of many hotbeds for like racist slurs being thrown around
Yeah.
during
Yeah.
live chat and stuff, and
Yeah.
something that they've been very poor in addressing. So
Yeah.
I think the reason that they were doing it is partially because they want to, but not just because they feel like they have to, but also partially because they feel like they have to because they know they would get the backlash because it's something that they haven't properly addressed for years, not just in the current Call of Duty game, but in previous Call of Duty games as well. Just not being able to um, create good grief, I hate saying this, create a safe environment where people are not disrespecting each other based on their race or gender or what have you. So I get that they did it in a kind of overcorrecting way. But I can't speak for others that are doing it just to get brownie points. But I do get your point from at least from like companies, trying to get into it. Some companies, like for example, like when it happened, um, Sony immediately responded to it, and
Yeah.
it wasn't like a knee jerk reaction. Um, they were very respectful of it
Yeah.
in their communication with it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean there are some companies that are legit behind it and are legit showing their support. Um, but it is hard to differentiate because they are companies and they're not people. They represent people. They
Yeah.
just not, it's a company. It's not in and of itself a person. So
Yeah.
it gets a bit harder to,
I
distinguish
just
what's
hope
sincere
that,
and what's not.
yeah, I just hope that this is something that will finally find a solution in a way that really solves it, because it's kind of like with the Me Too stuff.
It's gonna take time.
Yeah, but like now that this is happening, nobody's talking about Me Too, for example. Like it's all about Me Too was a thing in the news for a while, and then that's kind of died off, and now this is, and I just don't hope that it dies off. Kind of like,
Yeah, but with me too, it had an impact. Like an impact to a degree where like even if you're not hearing about the movement anymore, you're still feeling the impact of what that movement represented, what it did.
yeah,
You do see the changes coming out more and more, which is good, which is the point of a movement. Just
yeah,
because you don't hear more about the movement doesn't mean that it's not doing its thing. And with this, I really hope that this movement is not just a moment in time, but it's something that continues to push the conversation forward,
yeah,
and it also continues to push changes for the better.
yeah. I feel like since we've kind of gone in the Me Too direction, that it's more accepted that we get female lead characters in games, because before that it was really, I mean, people have said this, developers and publishers have said this, that getting a female lead character that the player plays with is a risk, and that they don't want to take that risk in some cases. So I'm happy to see that, because they're afraid that the audience might not like it or whatnot. So I'm happy to see that games like Horizon, Tomb Raider, I mean, you play as Ellie in the new Last of Us, that there are companies and developers that just say like, yo, but this is something that just makes sense and it's normal and it feels right to do this. So kind of hope that
Mhm.
this happens as well with Black Lives Matters, that we kind of get a different people, people of color in different roles in games, so that that also is more of a nice representation of society instead of um, just white people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Wow, that was a tangent.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to ignore that that's happening. So I think it would be strange if we didn't really address it. Like, I
Yeah.
feel that the way we address it is a bit more normal than that we kind of try to profit off of it. Because I would feel a horrible person if I did some brownie point speech around it. Because that's not
Yeah.
how we are.
Exactly. Especially since half of Game Rivals is black, so
I was about to say
that would be really odd if
that
we.
would be strange.
It would be really awkward if you did.
Yeah,
If I just like if we just did that, that would be just be super weird.
yeah.
Um,
We're not that
but
political, so that's a benefit.
no, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, but
Um.
yeah, we were talking. Wow,
Yeah.
like I said, tangent. We were talking about Destiny 2.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
after the 8 minutes 46 seconds, the presentation started. It was recorded in May,
Yeah.
so it wasn't addressing. Well, it wasn't addressing the current climate that we're in, but the current climate we were in at the time. So the whole virus thing. Um, and they addressed a couple of things that people were worried about in terms of Destiny 2. Now they're independent and how they want to keep the narrative going and they want to keep the promises going.
Yeah.
They admitted the fact that the the content they were pushing out beforehand wasn't up to the standards that they promised,
Yeah.
and that's something they want to change, which is great because from what I heard from people that played Destiny 2, the earlier stuff was not that excellent. I mean, the stuff that came afterwards was way better, and hopefully, with the content that they announced, it'll improve in quality. And that's also what they've been promising. They announced, I think, let me look up it real quick. They announced a bunch of new content. Um, So the first thing that they're gonna do is the first expansion that's coming out this year, which is called Beyond Light. Um, the second thing that they announced for their year 5. Wow, year 4. It's been 4 years.
I don't know.
Wow, are we in 4?
I
Wow,
bought I
I'm
bought the Destiny 2 when it came out. I played it for a month, and after that, I never touched it again. So
wow. Holy smokes, 4 years of Destiny 2. All right. So yeah, so this is year 4 Beyond Light. So 2021 is year 5, which that expansion also has a name which is called the Witch Queen, and year 6, which is it was slated for 2022, has the tentative title of Lightfall.
yeah.
So that's a lot of content that I've planned out. They've also planned on moving content into the what they call the Destiny content vault, because as you keep expanding a game, it keeps getting bigger. And I think Luke Smith said that currently Destiny, with all the content that's out, is 150 on PlayStation 4, and if they just keep adding to it, it's just gonna keep getting bigger, and that's just ridiculous. Um, so what they're going to do is they're gonna put older stuff that is not really active anymore, that people are not really playing. They're gonna put in the vault, and they might revisit it again in the future. Um, Maybe even tweak it so that it maybe, well, not even maybe, they if they were to revisit like older content, they would tweak it so it makes sense for the current version of Destiny 2, which is a really cool concept. I'm kind of curious to see if that works, if they can use that to keep the game file smaller. Yeah, yo, more power to them.
Yeah.
Because seriously, games are getting ridiculously huge, and you know what I you know what I'm talking about. We
Oh my
talked about this
god,
before.
the stupid size of Call of Duty. I mean, I think it's 200 gigabytes right now, or it's going over
Oh
100
no!
over 200 gigabytes. I
Oh, that's
mean,
terrible.
yeah, man, come on.
Yeah, so Destiny has an interesting future in front of us. They said that they're focused and they're committed to bringing Destiny 2, or the best Destiny 2 experience, to players, to fans, which is great. They're not focused on doing a new sequel, because a new sequel means, working on a new engine just to accommodate, and that's why they introduced the Vault.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if they weren't going to introduce the Vault, they might actually have to work on Destiny 3, which would mean that they'd have to stop working on content for Destiny 2 to make Destiny 3 a reality. So that's not something that they're doing, at least until 2022. Um, what happens beyond that, we don't know. If they go the full MMO route and just become like the shooter version of World of Warcraft, which is still going strong to this day. I can't even believe that. Um, yeah, so cool. It was about 40 minutes, maybe. I think maybe even shorter than that. Um,
Yeah,
they showed a couple of trailers and like that's it.
and they also mentioned that it's coming to next gen, that it's going to run in 4K 60 FPS, which is nice
Hmm.
because Stadia doesn't do that. And
Mm.
I'm sorry, I just had to drop
Shots
that one.
fired.
I just had to
Shots
do that
fired.
one. It was such an easy one. And
Uh,
if you buy it in the same console family, you will get an upgrade for free to the next gen version. So if you have the PS5 4 version of Destiny and you have all the expansions, or you just have the base game or whatever, all the content you have on the PS4 will transition over to the PS5 for free. You don't have to do that. On Xbox Series X, it supports smart delivery. Next year, they will make sure that you can get uh,
Cross generation.
cross generation play in, so that if you have a PS4, your friend has a PS5, you can play together. And then later, they also want to do inter cross console, so that if you have an Xbox, I have a PS5, that we can just play. And I think they also meant Xbox
Crossplay.
One. Yeah, but I think they also meant Xbox One, PS5, PS4, and Series X all in one lobby, so that there's
That
basically
is
no
ambitious, by
difference.
the way.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
it's never been done. But like if that's the goal, if it's not just PlayStation 5 and PlayStation and Series X, that's huge because I don't think outside of PC it's ever been done.
yeah,
So yeah, that's huge.
yeah. I mean, I kind of hope that it's going to work, but yeah, it's one of those things that um, I have crossplay turned on Xbox, on a PlayStation for Call of Duty. I don't really notice a big difference, but maybe if people in your friends list don't have upgraded to the latest console, still be nice to be able to play with them.
Exactly. Also, I think the whole point is that you don't notice that they're on Xbox or on PC, unless they keep sniping you, then oh yeah, that's probably a person that's on PC.
Yeah,
Because they have that, that mouse fidelity and the keyboard fidelity right there.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The last thing I want to talk about real quickly is a big, big, big article from the one and only Jason Schreier, now working for Bloomberg, and we're not gonna get into details into that too much because it's like a really long article, and otherwise the news segment is gonna be way too long. But basically, what happened is this past December, the team working on the sequel of Kerbal Space Program 2, um, dang it, what are they called again? Star. Hang on, gosh darn it. Star. Star Theory. They're the ones working on the sequel. They got jacked. And when I say got jacked, I mean um, Activision, who now holds the rights to the sequel, by the way, just the sequel, not the franchise itself. Um, they were working with Star Theory to have this game, be made. And what happened is negotiations fell through. Activision canceled the agreement they had with Star Theory, and then had them send out LinkedIn invites to people working at Star Theory to come and work for a new studio that's working on Kerbal Space Program 2, which was them.
Yeah, that's kind of a dick move.
Yeah, like I've heard of corporate takeovers, but this I've never heard of this kind of corporate takeover before, where they basically took more than half of the staff over to this new development studio, which was called Intercept Games. Like really, like kind of a bit on the. Oh, sorry, what did I say? Activision? I meant 2K.
2K, yeah.
Uh, yeah, 2K. Like the Take Two Interactive has the license, not Activision. Activision wishes they had the license. Um, but yeah, like they just blatantly sent. I think most, if not everybody on the team, LinkedIn invitations to like switch jobs on a job they were already working on, and the people working there weren't even aware of this happening. So they just suddenly got this in the mail, and they're like, "Wait, what? But we're the ones working on like this game. How is this even happening?" The article goes into like great detail, so I do recommend hitting up Bloomberg and looking up the article itself, and going into the details of that. But basically, what happened is they took, I think, more than half of the staff. Um, Star Theory had nothing because they were just contracted to make the game. They don't own the IP. Um, so they were left with less than half of the staff. They had to scramble and come up with new game concepts so they can shop around to publishers during Gamescom. I mean GDC, and then the world happened and GDC got canceled. So they didn't have any way of pitching their projects, and they had to shut down in March. So Star Theory does not exist anymore. Um, Kerbal Space Program 2 got delayed to 2021. It was supposed to come out this fall, but they had to delay it due to the world happening. But also, I'm assuming because they had to move half of the team over and probably had to hire more people to fill in the holes in that new development studio. So yeah, and that and people working from home. So of course it's gonna get delayed. But wow, it's delayed till like next fall, which is a really long time away.
I thought the game
I
was
know,
going to
I
come
know. At
out in
least
early
one per.
access.
Sorry,
I thought the game was going to come out in early access, just like Kerbal 1.
I don't think so because I think they actually contracted them to like have it hit a hard release date.
Okay.
Except we didn't know what the release date was because I'm assuming that was this was an internal release date that they had for the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least one positive though, the original developers for the first Kerbal Space Program, they still own the rights to the first game, so they're still updating that one um whenever. So yeah. So that's gonna be interesting to see. I know, like I said, there's one person that we both know that is probably really disappointing that the game got delayed till 2021 because he was looking forward
I spoke to him and he was pretty upset,
to
to
like
put it
upending the
lightly.
table upset.
Well, the funny thing is he's playing Kerbal on his play. He's been playing Kerbal for years on his computer, and now he's switched over to the PlayStation. And told him, "Why? Why are you doing this? You know it's the lesser experience." And he said, "Oh, it's more challenging with the controller, so I kind of wanted to try
Yeah,
that."
but you don't have mods
I know.
on PlayStation. At least I don't think so. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so that's it for the news. So stick around and we'll be right back with what we've been playing.
Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to our second segment. It's kind of like the teaser for the third one that we all know everybody's been waiting for. I know I am. So let's kick it off with what we've been playing. So, Maximilian, what have you been playing?
Well, there's not a lot that came out that I wanted to pick up. The one thing that I really wanted to pick up, I did, which is Xenoblade. Yeah, good grief, I really hate the Western name. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Like in Japan, it's just called Xenoblade, so I usually just call it Xenoblade. But yeah, the definitive edition for that finally came out, right in time for the 10-year anniversary of the whole franchise, which is this week as you're listening to this episode. And yeah, this one is very special because when it came out, it was a game that was already out in Japan for at least a year or so, and people were really up and about it. And luckily for us, Nintendo of Europe decided to localize it. a year later, and we got it. Um, it is back then. Like if you look at the graphics themselves, like the character designs are not that good looking because it looks seriously like something from the PlayStation 2 era because it was a Wii game. But the the scale of the game's world, I mean, it's semi open world and it really shows. And the fact that they were able to pull it off on Wii was astounding because you had these really big open vistas and really big caverns that you could explore with creatures going around and you're just exploring and doing quests and killing monsters. It's a really like impressive game. Like to even back then, the fact that they got that they could have it to run on a Wii on that grandeur was amazing. And then they ported it to 3DS. Yeah, I have no idea why they did that. I guess they wanted to. They had to have a game launch with the new 3DS, which took advantage of the extra powerful chips that were in there, and it looks fine on 3DS. But yeah, like it didn't need to be on there. But now it's on a system that is really good, the Switch. They used the Xenoblade 2 engine to port it over. So it looks like Xenoblade 2, and it has kind of the same problems that Xenoblade 2 has on Switch, wherein there's popping of foliage when you're walking. So, like in the very distance, you won't see foliage, and when you're walking, it just magically appears. And there's a lot of foliage in this game, so it can be kind of distracting. But like any good JRPG, it's all about the gameplay. And oh my goodness, there's so much that they fixed in this version that truly makes this the definitive edition of Xenoblade Chronicles. Um, a lot of it is just quality of life changes they made to how you play the game. So one of the biggest hurdles of the original game was that the HUD was just way too big and was covering at least 75% of the screen, because you had on one side you had the health bars of your three party members. At the bottom row you have these actions that your character can do, and at the top you had the information about the battle and stuff like that. So like a little piece of the screen was just seeing what the battle was, and that could be very distracting and very hard to keep up. But now you can see way more because the HUD's smaller and in HD and slick, and it makes for a very better, oh boy, it makes for a better gameplay experience. The other thing that they also changed was the way they track subquests, and this game has a lot of subquests from back in the original Wii version. That's one of the reasons why I never finished playing that game, because I was so busy doing all the subquests in that game, and it's so hard to keep track of where you need to go, what you need to do for all these subquests, that at a certain point I just gave up on it. Now it's very easy to keep track of everything, so I'm doing all the subquests while I'm doing the main quest on the side. I always try to make sure that I do all the subquests that are available to me at that point before I move on. And
That's
so
what I said
far,
to you about RPGs, right? That sometimes
yeah,
it's
that you don't
so
like.
much that it's just overwhelming and that you just don't know what to do anymore because there's so much content in there. And you're like, okay, I just don't want to play it anymore because I just don't know what to do anymore. I mean, I had that with Mass Effect 3, I had that with The Witcher. It's just a shame because it's good to have so much content, but at the same time, if it's too much, then some people are like, okay, I'm done with this. What's next?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, this one also has a lot, but it's optional, like any good side quest is. But the fact that you can track it so easily and it shows you where you need to go, um, is like a friggin' godsend, because a lot of the subquests relies on you finding items that are just lying about in the world, and it's very like next to impossible to just go out on a scavenger hunt and look for them. Now it shows you on the map, it shows you how to get there. It's super easy to do. and the rewards, depending on the side quest, are as small as, just getting some experience and maybe an item, to getting like really good gear that'll help you, overcome the next thing in the game. Um, like I said, the game looks gorgeous. Like, it is really pretty. It runs smooth. I don't think I've seen anything other than the pop in of um other the pop in of the foliage happen. So other than that, I haven't seen any frame rate issues. I hit one snag with a boss, which just kept killing me so many times that the game was like, "Oh, we see that you're struggling with this boss. Maybe you want to play on casual mode." I'm like,
It seems to be like the new normal with games these days.
why? Like, I get it. I get that you want your like new players to come in and experience the story. And the story is a pretty cool story in and of itself, but don't force me to use casual mode. Eventually I did beat it without the use of casual mode. I just needed to I needed to think up of a new strategy to tackle the boss, and that new strategy like instantly worked, which is great. So right now, where I am in the game, I'm in chapter 7. It's not like a big spoiler or anything. um I'm in chapter 7 of the game, and I'm almost to where I was originally back on the Wii U, or no, not the Wii U, on the Wii. So yay for me. Like, so I'm determined to finally finish Xenoblade, like from start to finish, and also do the epilogue that they added for the definitive edition called Future Connected, which from what I've seen from reviews of the game, it ties up a lot of loose ends that the original game had. The original In the original game, they were supposed to tie up some loose ends, but they didn't have the time to do it, so that stuff just got dropped, and they essentially repurposed those ideas into this new epilogue.
That's nice.
Yeah, so I'm really curious to play it. I mean, you can play the epilogue right from the get go. If you're someone who finished the original game, I'm assuming that that would be a bit more of a draw. But since I never finished the original game, I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to play Future Connected.
Nice.
So that's what I've been playing, other than my daily Animal Crossing check in. But, you guys have heard enough about that. You can actually check into Animal Crossing if you still wanted to know about that, but that's about it.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, wait. I did do one other thing. I tested PlayStation Now. I did
Oh,
the
you
7-day
told me.
trial.
Maybe you could
Yeah.
tell people how it was because I played it years ago.
It was. So, remember how I'm very enthusiastic about GeForce Now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just supplant that enthusiasm over PlayStation Now.
Oh, so they
Because
actually
at least.
it's better than it was because a couple of years ago, um, it was I played Red Dead Redemption, and it was emulating a PS3 game, and when I would pan the camera around, it would sometimes stutter, even though my internet connection was good according to the PlayStation Now check.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you played wired or not, so I do have to give that caveat. My PlayStation 4 is wired. Um, so that might actually help. I'm assuming that helps with the stability, because when I played GeForce Now wired on my MacBook Pro, that helped with the stability as well. Even though playing wirelessly with GeForce Now was fine. Every now and then I would get a hiccup, but wired, no hiccups whatsoever. PlayStation Now also has the ability for you to download um, PlayStation 4 games that are available on the Surface to your hard drive, so that it doesn't have to stream. The thing that I do want to talk about real quickly, other than the fact that it's been a smooth experience. I played PlayStation 2 games. I played PlayStation 3 games. I played PlayStation 4 games on PlayStation Now. Everything was smooth. I didn't need to download anything. But the one coolest thing is that I played um, Spider Man for the PlayStation 4 on
Hmm.
GeForce Now, and it detected that I had a save file
I think you mean
on my
PlayStation
cloud.
Now.
Yeah.
You said
PlayStation Now.
you said GeForce
Did I
Now.
say GeForce Now? I don't know. I mean PlayStation Now. So you know how if you have PlayStation Plus, you have your saves in the cloud.
Yeah,
It detected that I had a save file in the cloud, and it asked me if I wanted to port it over to like copy it over to PlayStation Now.
that's pretty cool.
It did it, and it worked right away. I'm like, oh my god, this is so cool! Like
That is really cool.
if you want to save space on your PlayStation and play the games, this is a way to do it.
I think this is perfect for you since you don't have any space on your
Yeah, no kidding. I was even
PlayStation.
able to play Control, and I have to agree, Control is friggin' weird.
Yeah, it's really cool and it's really pretty, but it's just as I said, it's like you're
It's
walking
really
into
weird.
you're walking into the movie theaters and you just walk into a movie halfway through while it's already playing, and I don't know what this is about. I don't know what to do. It's literally that.
That well, that and the fourth wall break that they like. It's the weirdest fourth wall break because the main character keeps talking
Yeah, but you'll find
to.
if you play the game, you will find out what that is about. So there is some
Oh,
explanation
okay.
later on, but you have to play a bit for that.
Okay, I only played like for maybe 20 minutes or so. So man, that opening spot was so weird.
Yeah, I
Like
know.
I've played weird games, but like this is like next level.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I so that's what I did. I tried out PlayStation Now. Would I recommend it for $10 a month? Actually, sure. Yeah.
Maybe around these
I mean,
times
if
it's not a bad investment.
it's not a bad investment for now, I don't know what that's gonna look like when the PlayStation 5 launches, but if you're if you're in the market for playing games that you wouldn't have otherwise, there are a lot of PlayStation 4 games on there that maybe some people haven't tried yet. Do take into account some games are not on there permanently. Control's not on there permanently. I think there was still a month left on that game on the service, and then it just disappears. The same goes for Spider-Man, which is weird. But yeah, that also has a limit. That also is gonna be on there for at least the next couple of months, and then that's off the service as well. So just keep that in mind. So yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Nice.
What have you been playing, Sean Templar?
Well, to be honest, I'm having one of my dips again that I just don't feel like playing anything. So
Mm-hmm.
I started playing the Uncharted collection again. So I finished one, and then I've started playing two. But I remember that the remastered trilogy for Uncharted doesn't support HDR, so it's so dark that I just can't play it. So I really have to play at night, and when it's under specific circumstances, I tend to like, yeah, you know what, never mind, I'll just play something else because I can't wait till dark until I can play this game.
Mm.
So and then I suddenly realized, like, oh no, The Last of Us is coming out in 2 weeks. I still haven't finished The Last of Us remastered again because I wanted to play it again just before I started to. So I started playing that, and I basically finished it in, I think, like in a week. It's cool that I only played Last of Us once on the PlayStation 3, and I finished it then, which is almost like maybe 10 years ago. No, no, less than 10 years ago.
No,
Like
it's not 10 years.
7, 8 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. So, yeah, it was actually really nice. I remembered bits and pieces of it, but some parts I completely had forgotten. So, for example, the part where you meet Sam and Henry, I had completely forgotten about you running into those guys. Um, yeah, and I had also forgotten of Nolan North's character. I forgot the guy's name. He's the guy that leads the bandits that you play the part where you play as Ellie. You meet him in the wild, and then he gives you the medicine to help the penicillin to help Joel.
Yeah, that's Henry.
No, 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 no. Henry and Sam are the guys you meet, the brothers you meet in the city.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, because Sam gets bitten, and then you shoot. He gets shot, and then Henry kills himself, or the other way around. I'm gonna look this up.
I thought that Sam and Henry were the two hunter guys that are that gave Ellie the penicillin.
No, Sam and Henry is the brothers, are the two brothers that you meet in the city when you get ambushed by with the car, and then you kind of play that segment, and then you've run into them,
Oh,
and then
right.
they leave
Yeah, 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 yeah.
you, and then um, they eventually find out that Sam, I think Sam, the little guy, was bitten.
Yeah, the two kids. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and then
Ah, right, right,
they
right, right,
blame
right.
you, and then he kills himself before he kills his little brother,
Yeah.
and then
No, that was dark.
that was dark. Yeah, yeah. But the Nolan North character, what's the guy's name? I want to know because it was such a strange voice for Nolan North to do, and David, that's the guy's name.
David, yeah, you're right. You're right. David,
David.
yeah.
Yeah, that guy's voiced
Scum of
by,
the earth, by the
yeah,
way.
yeah, he was voiced by Nolan North, but Nolan North speaks in such a different way that you kind of don't realize it's him. Because
Yeah.
normally it's basically normally in all the Nolan North games he does, it's basically Nathan Drake's voice in a different body, and here it was like this Nathan Drake that's kind of zoned out because he's been drug dosed or something. That he's on this relaxation medicine. That he's like, oh, hello there, little girl. Oh, if you want, I can help you with the penicillin. But maybe you should tell me who you are. Yeah, he speaks in such a manner, whereas
Yeah, well, maybe it's also because he eats people.
maybe, yeah,
Well, at least it's implied. I'm still not 100% sure on that
I
one,
think
but
that's
they
100%
hack up
sure.
people, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
yeah.
forgot about that part as well. So it's really cool to kind of
Ugh.
see those parts back. I'm like, oh, I forgot about this part. Oh, and I forgot about that part, and I didn't know there was this in there. So it was a really nice reminder for me to kind of get back because I had forgotten it all since it was years ago that I played it. So I was really happy with it. And then
David is the worst.
one of the one of the most pivotal moments for me in the game is where, so the way and you saw this as well, is that in the beginning Joel hates, I wouldn't say he hates Ellie, but he doesn't like Ellie. He's really keeping distance, and then when you get to Bill, he's a little bit more supportive of her and he's a bit more kinder to her, and then you kind of notice that they talk about Sarah, and then he's like, oh, okay, I don't want to talk about this, and he starts to dislike her again and distance himself from her, and then they start to grow that bond again. And the real changing moment is when she takes care of him when he's hurt, and then she freaks out when David tries to kill her, and then she chops David up with his machete. And then it's the first time he grabs her and he says, "It's okay, baby girl." And that's kind of that turning moment in which you see that he really sees her as his daughter, and she kind of sees him as his dad. And then, for example, when they get close to the Fireflies, at the end, he says, "Hey, when we get out of this, I'm going to teach you how to play a guitar and stuff like that," which is pretty cool because in The Last of Us 2, Ellie can play a guitar from the
Hmm.
trailers we saw. So it's really cool that you can really see that journey in which they grow together. And then in The Last of Us 2 trailers, Joel is always mentioned as Ellie's old man, so they really have this bond. So it's really cool, and that's why I'm also really looking forward to The Last of Us 2 because like it's one of those few games that you kind of get invested into it from an emotional standpoint because it does something to you, and that's what I really like. So I'm really curious to see what's going to happen. As I said before, I kind of think I know where Last of Us 2 is going to go because um, in the trailers you see that Ellie starts to develop this relationship with a girl, and they kind of fall in love. I have the feeling that she gets killed somewhere and then Ellie wants to take revenge on it, because I don't think Joel's gonna die initially, because Joel appears in some of the segments where she says that she's gonna take revenge. um, Normally I would say that's a pretty cliche story, but knowing Naughty Dog and kind of reading the headlines there, I think that revenge story will be really interesting because maybe they'll do something that you'll see that Ellie is really struggling with all those decisions and choices and know what to do, instead of going rogue and just killing everybody gets in her way, which can still be fun. I mean, kind of reminds me of the old God of War games, which could be cool, but I don't think The Last of Us is
God
really.
of War, Ellie edition.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and then she suddenly makes a cameo in God of War 2, and then
She's just palling around with Kratos.
yeah. So like, it's really interesting to go to see in which direction it's gonna go. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I mean, it's
Mhm.
next week. And then
There is one thing that I'm happy about that I saw in the gameplay that they showed in the state of play a couple of weeks ago. Ellie can swim.
yeah, 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 she can swim.
Oh my goodness, that was so, like, no offense, but that was so annoying when you had to traverse water areas with Ellie and you had to pick up of floating debris so that she could stand on that. Uh Now at least she
The
can swim.
only thing the only thing that I was what I didn't like, and that's more like a design influence, is that there are these parts in The Last of Us that you have to find a ladder, grab a box, find a pallet for Ellie to swim on, or to get over a certain puzzle. And they kind of that inspired the way Uncharted 4 was made, but they overused it in Uncharted 4. So there are too many
Hmm.
segments in Uncharted 4 where you have to look for a big box on wheels to get over the next puzzle. And that's kind of one of the criticisms a lot of people had for Uncharted 4, which kind of ruined the experience because the puzzles were so basic in that way compared to the other last of Uncharted games. What is cool to see is that they took a sort of minimalistic approach in The Last of Us to HUD and interacting in the world,
Hmm.
and that carried over to Uncharted as well. So in Uncharted, it's really minimalistic. It's more immersive, which is really cool.
Yeah, all right. Cool.
And that's basically what I have been playing. I am thinking, I am checking, have I played something else? I don't think so. Um, I did something fun with a couple of friends of mine. A couple of friends of mine play Assetto Corsa Competizione, which is is a racing sim. It's focused on GT3 cars, and they have their own league. So they have this competition every week that has tracks in it, and then they run their league and they race in it. So last week I was asked by them if I would want to help them live stream their game. So what we did is we did a live stream to YouTube, and I was kind of like the camera director. So I had this whole panel in front of me in which I could switch between the cars and I could do the replays and stuff like that. It was pretty fun. I'm not a huge GT3 fan. I mean, I like Formula One cars better, and I like Formula One games.
Hmm.
But it was cool to see that. What's cool about Assetto Corsa is that they laser scan the track, so the tracks are in there to the smallest of details. So it's really cool. They have a huge selection of tracks. It is a game that came out of early access recently, so there are some basic things missing in there, such as leaderboards, which is a strange thing because you would expect a race game to have that as a bare minimum. Um,
Well, maybe their work, maybe the online infrastructure is something that they build on their own.
it
So that
could
might be
be,
the
yeah,
reason why there's no leaderboard yet.
yeah, because they also don't support mods, for example, which is this game screams mods. But it could be that they add things later on. But yeah, that it was nice to see. Maybe we will have the guys over and have them do some fun stuff around Assetto Corsa. We'll have to check with them. I think they're interested. I don't know if we have a lot of racing fans out there. If we do, let us know, and we can maybe do some special things around that. Um,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, I downloaded Minecraft Dungeons. I've never played a Minecraft game, but this kind of looks nice, and I have Xbox Game Pass, so I thought, you know, might as well just try it out. Um, so I did that. The download just finished, so I might fire it up in a bit and see what happens.
Cool. All
That's
right. Well, let us know
basically
what
it.
it's like. Oh, FYI, Minecraft Dungeons is basically Diablo with a Minecraft skin. So
I like Diablo,
if you've
so
played Diablo before, then I think you should be fine with this,
that's
from what
nice.
I've heard.
Yeah, because I played the Diablo 3. It was my first Diablo game, and I really liked it. So
All right. Cool.
we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Cool. That's it for this segment, I believe. Our PlayStation 5 games reveal section
Extravaganza.
extravaganza will be after this segment. So definitely stick around because I think you will all like it, or if you can hear it because of the excitement in my voice, at least I think it will be really, really exciting. I'm getting pretty hyped. Um, I don't expect Sony to disappoint us. If they do, well, then you won't hear from me for the next foreseeable future because I'll be crying in a corner. But it's just let's hope for the best. Let's keep it at that. Stick around. We will be back with the PlayStation 5 reveal.
Whoop whoop.
Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to our last segment. I'm trying to um, not blow your ears out because of the excitement that I'm experiencing, but we just had the Sony PS5 reveal event, or the future of gaming, as Sony called it, and boy, oh boy, was it good.
Yeah, man, that was wow. That just it just underscored how rushed Microsoft's Inside Xbox thing was about a month and a half ago.
Yeah,
And yeah, this was like they you can really see that they took their time to prepare this digital event.
it was
Um,
pre-recorded, but I think in this case it was a benefit that it was pre-recorded instead of them doing something live with people having 480p webcams and crappy audio. This was sleek, professional, just the thing you would want. Normally, if they do an event, it would be the same kind of level, but
hmm
I think it's a great format they used for the digital event.
Yep, yep. Kind of wish the states or plays was as slick as this, but
Well, I think
can't
that
have too much.
maybe this is a direction they're heading, because the Ghost of Tsushima, the Last of Us
Last of
State
Us
of
Part
Plans
Two.
were really good because
Yeah,
it
those were
focused
really
on one game and it had a specific theme throughout the state of play they wanted to show. And I liked how they, for example, the Ghost of Tsushima one was really stylish as well. They had like these cool transitions in between that fit the
good.
style, and they did that for the PlayStation reveal as well. I just got sick and tired of all the squares and the circles and the
Oh
X's in
my goodness.
gazillion
Yeah, can
ways.
we get that one out of the way because that I honestly feel that that was just teasing the fact that they were going to show the box
Yeah, which they
or
did, by the
or
way.
should I say boxes
Maybe we should get
where
that
they
one
showed
first out of the way.
yeah, let's get that out of the way so that
Okay,
we can talk about the games
yeah, because
cuz
that's something they nailed. They showed the box, and a lot of
finally
people were like, a lot of people were like, I hope they showed the box. I hope they show a release date, and I hope they show the price." And like, okay, release date and price is never going to happen. Maybe a release
yeah, that wasn't
window.
going to happen in this
Yeah,
yeah.
but they need to show the box. If they didn't show the box today, they wouldn't have gotten away with it because people would have seriously made an issue out of it.
Yeah.
Um,
It would be too suspicious if they didn't.
yeah, because then
And
you
then
would
they
almost
gave
think
us
they
a
don't have the,
lot.
yeah. But to be honest, okay, so basically, there's going to be two editions. There's one with a disc, which is called the PlayStation 5, and there's one without a disc, which is called the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition. Or
Digital edition.
yeah, and to be honest, it is the inspiration from the DualSense controller kind of flows over to the way of the console. It's really futuristic. It has the two tone color scheme, so black and white. Um,
Mhm.
it's uh, it's something different because Sony's never done something like this. So I think that kind of puts emphasis on that this box or this PlayStation is something that will show the future of gaming. Um, I just read online somebody called it a trophy that you win at an award show, which was kind of spot on. It does look like it. If I look at it,
You
it
mean from the
reminds,
front, right?
yeah, if I look at the front picture, it reminds me of a Formula One trophy that the first person would win in the race, kind of like that. The only thing I don't like is that if you buy the normal version with a disc drive in it, it kind of sticks out on the side. Um,
Yeah.
Probably due to cooling, they couldn't integrate it in the middle part, but that's fine. I'm thinking about buying the digital edition anyway, so I won't have that issue.
It looks like one of those what is it? I don't want to say Alienware because Alienware designs are just
Yeah,
really
but people,
weird,
I heard that
but it
one as
kind of
well.
looks like one of those like really actually, let me no. Like now that I'm looking at it again, it looks like one of those um
Gamer PC laptops by
yeah,
eight.
but specifically a version that dang it was a Steam machine.
Ah,
Like there was a Steam machine that had like similar color schemes, so black and white. That one was horizontal,
mhm.
but this is like you stood that thing up and it's that, and it just looks a bit more sleeker than that.
Yeah,
And yeah, it looks like some weird UT. Yeah, it looks like a weird gaming PC, like sleek blade thing.
yeah. This could be the a trophy that you get at the Game Awards when your game gets best game of the year. And maybe Jeff Keighley will do that this year. Who knows? But yeah, so we get a normal PlayStation 5 and we get a digital edition. Besides the looks of it, they shared that there will be a media remote, there will be an HD camera, there will be a dual sense charging station, and there will be an 3D audio deep sense headset, which is cool because I think that will really make the Tempest engine really pop and really sound the way Sony intends it to be.
Mhm.
I'm thinking about getting that because that would be nice. I think. Um, Besides that, yeah, they kicked it off with I think almost everything was either a gameplay trailer or in engine. So there's no CG stuff in there as far as I could see.
Mhm.
Um, there's a huge list of games they showed. Some of them are exclusives. Some of them I think will be third party. One thing that stood out to me was that they had a great mix of indie and triple A.
Mhm.
And what also kind of stood out was that um, Sony really, and that's I think the difference between a Sony and a Microsoft is that Sony can really lean on its Japanese developers or its Japanese third parties to make content for the PlayStation that really looks nice and it looks interesting. Whereas Microsoft kind of has to beg Japanese developers for content because they showed a space game. You're kind of like an astronaut walking in, I think, New York City or Tokyo. It looked pretty cool. Kind of gave me Death
Oh
Stranding
yeah, it's
vibes.
dang
Pragmata,
it,
it's called.
Pragmata.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's
Yeah,
developed by Capcom. It looked pretty cool. I initially thought it was an expansion for Death Stranding, maybe like a
yeah,
prequel.
yeah. If you look at the helmet of the astronaut looking
Yeah,
guy,
yeah.
yeah.
So that looked really cool. It's coming out in 2022. Um, Another game they showed was I'll specifically mention the Japanese ones first. Is
Mhm.
Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yep,
Um,
which was announced 2 years ago at Bethesda's E3
was it
event.
2 years ago or last year?
That was it? No, I don't think they had something last
I
year.
think it was last year.
Was it last year?
I don't
I
know.
don't
It
remember.
was it's a game
It
set.
was at the it was at Bethesda's E3 thing.
Yeah, yeah,
That's for sure.
yeah, and I think it was last year because then you had that super enthusiastic Japanese lady being like, "Oh, and she got all the following online, and everybody loved her." And
Mhm.
anyways, it's a first person. It's a first person. I wouldn't call it a shooter. I would call it a first person magic horror game. I would say horror maybe.
It's a first person game. It's
Yeah,
like the game takes place in first person.
in
You
Tokyo,
do in Tokyo, you do kind of these Buddhist hand gestures to expel what I'm assuming are ghosts and specters.
something like that.
It looks really funkadelic. Um, I'm actually looking forward to it because that looks really weird. That might be a
I
multi-platform
think it was
release.
confirmed for multi-platform. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Square is doing a exclusive for the PS5 called Project Athia. It
Yeah, like why? Like why?
Yeah, yeah, it looked really
It
pretty, but
wasn't gameplay. It looks pretty, but it wasn't gameplay. It was all pre-rendered, and it doesn't even have a fixed name. So
yep, it's kind of what
it says designed exclusively for PlayStation 5, so it is an exclusive.
yeah,
It didn't have a release date, so it's not like it's coming out in 2021. We have no idea when this is gonna come out, or if it's even ever gonna come out. So
yep.
yeah.
Um, so I'll put it in a Japanese category. Resident Evil 8 Village got announced for
Yep,
next year.
was teased for quite a while.
Yeah,
People There were already rumors going around what it could be,
yeah, yeah,
and that would be first person again, which it is. And
yep.
the ending was weird because the ending, I there was a guy at the end, and the character that you're playing calls him Chris. He kind of looks like Chris Redfield, but I never played RE7.
Me neither.
Did you? Okay, so I'm pretty sure that nobody from the original RE storyline ever made an appearance in Resident Evil 7 because that was kind of the point because they wanted to do something different.
And the reboot.
It was kind of like a reboot thing to the franchise. So having Chris Redfield in this is kind of weird because now I'm not sure if this is a continuation of RE7 or if this is something completely different altogether.
I think it's probably a continuation of RE7 because
Mm,
it also had the same style and the same first person view, and it also started with this story is the end for this person or something like that.
mhm.
So I think it probably looks like a sequel.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it could be a sequel.
Yeah.
Um, Let me see if I can find it here somewhere. Nope. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, so it's supposed to come out sometime 2021.
Yep.
So look forward to that. I'm assuming that that's also a multi-plat.
I
So
I can't imagine it being an exclusive. Otherwise, it would have been mentioned. It probably.
yeah, true.
Yeah.
Going off further, Polyphony
Yeah. Gran Turismo
showed
7.
off Gran Turismo 7.
Yep.
It's Gran Turismo, right?
Yeah.
I don't have a stake in these kind of things. It's a simulation racer.
Yeah.
I've tried GT games. I mean, it's fine, but it's not my biscuit. It's not my thing.
Yeah. I've played Gran Turismo in the past. I know people that a good friend of mine is really hooked on Gran Turismo 7. I mentioned that he switched to Assetto Corsa now, but he played like Gran Turismo Sport for years. And he was really, I was talking to him during the event and he was really excited about Gran Turismo 7. So I think he's going to definitely buy it. I don't think it's going to come out this year at launch because generally what we've seen is if a game is spec is going to come out this year, they mention it in the trailer that it's going to come out this year.
Hmm.
Maybe they'll do it later on, but initially it is they mentioned in the trailer. Another thing they showed off, which was something a lot of people wanted, I think, was a Demon Souls remake or remaster.
Well, that was also like that was rumored for a while, and that rumor has been like sparking up over
Yeah.
the past couple of weeks.
Yep.
So yeah, that was confirmed here.
Yeah, it's done by
Um,
the Blue Point and Japan studio, so it's probably in
yep.
good hands.
And this is also a PlayStation 5 exclusive
Yep. And
because Demon Souls was a PlayStation exclusive title. So,
yeah, it kind of kicked off the whole Dark Souls kind of games.
hmm
And then I think we had all the Japanese games, and then we kind of go
did
into
we?
just tricking. Yeah, because Capcom did two, Square Enix did one. I think that's it. And then
Yeah,
we go
that is.
into the Western games, and then maybe we can save the Sony things for last because those are maybe the obvious ones.
Okay, so let's start with what they started off the whole event with.
I didn't
G
expect that one, by the way. It was so strange.
that was a really weird reveal because the first thing that they showed was this history thing of PlayStation starting from 1994 all the way up to 2020 or 2018 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then it switched over to GTA 5,
Yep.
which is really weird
Yeah.
because, GTA 5 will now be this I think this is like unprecedented. There has never been a game that has surpassed more than one console generation. Because
Yep.
remember, GTA 5 started off on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3.
I know.
It didn't even come to PC until I think the next generation versions came out.
Yep.
So PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and now it's also coming to PlayStation 5 sometime next year.
I think in this case, it has to do with that.
Backwards
Uh,
compatibility.
no, not even that. But it has to do with that GTA Online is such a big game, and it has so much content in there that it makes sense for Rockstar to bring it over because everyone that all the PS5 owners will get GTA Online for free.
Yeah,
So I think that for them
at
it's a
launch.
no-brainer at launch. Yeah. So I think it's a no-brainer for them. But yeah, I mean, like I hope they. It feels like they kind of um, disowned Red
That's
Dead.
also, by the way, a ridiculous deal. A GTA for free at launch, even if it's not a new one.
Yeah, yeah. It kind of feels like they're neglecting Red Dead Redemption. But yeah, I mean, it does make sense if GTA Online is such a big game. Why would you
Did
waste
did Red
resources?
Dead did Red Dead Redemption Online even take off like proper? Like, are
Mm,
people still like talking about that online aspect or playing
So
it?
before it came out, Rockstar said it was going to be bigger than GTA Online, but eventually, I think the response and the reception was so mixed and lukewarm that people eventually just stopped playing. But that's maybe also because it missed a lot of stuff, and it still misses a lot of stuff. So like, basically, one of the cooler features of GTA Online is heists, which you don't
Hmm.
have in Red Dead Redemption, which is such a no-brainer to do because just gather your posse and rob a train or something, or ride into town and rob shops or a bank. I mean, it's such a basic feature, you would almost call it, and it's not there. I mean, I know a guy, a friend of ours. He used to play a lot of GTA Online, and then he was hyped for Red Dead Online, and then he switched and he didn't like it. He went back. Eventually went back to Red Dead, but he still didn't like it, so he's now playing Fallout 76, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, because he has in his words, he has a tendency to get addicted to stuff really quickly, and this is easy, so he can get addicted to it.
Hmm.
Yep.
Weird.
Yeah. Maybe it's better that he didn't find out about World of Warcraft, because otherwise we'd lose him to that. Yeah. But yeah, so GTA 5, and then I'm skipping the
oh,
game. Oh yeah,
plus a little extra thing. Also, starting from now, every month, PlayStation
four
uh
owners.
PlayStation 4 owners will get 1 million in-game currency for GTA 5 every month until it launches on PlayStation 5.
Yeah. Yeah, that was cool. I guess if you're into that, I don't play GTA Online. The load times are so killing. So that might actually, I might jump into GTA Online on the PS5 if they kind of fix the load problems. Because sometimes it literally took 5 minutes, and now I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna waste 5 minutes of my life. I'm gonna skip the game they showed after that because that's a Sony game.
Okay.
I'm gonna skip this one because that's also a Sony game. So I'm just going off the list that we both have in front of us. Um, Arcane Studio showed a game called Deathloop.
Which was also because I thought it looked familiar, and then I realized, oh, it was also announced during that same event where they also announced Ghostwire.
Oh, I couldn't remember it. It When I looked at the trailer, it reminded me of a Tarantino movie meets Dishonored, basically because Arcane is the developer of Dishonored. But like they grabbed Dishonored and they grabbed a Quentin Tarantino story and they added a spice of Edge of Tomorrow, the movie, to it, and then they threw it in a blender, and this is what came out. Looks pretty cool. Looks stylish. Um,
Looks very stylish.
yeah, it looks very stylish. I don't know if it's a co-op or a competitive game because
That's
basically,
not co-op because the main character is basically being hunted down, and there's one other character that's hunting
yeah,
well,
so I'm
the
wondering if
main
it's
character there.
competitive
So
maybe or
I don't think it's competitive. I think because I don't know if this is a single player game. If it's a multiplayer game, then I think it's asymmetrical.
yeah, I don't know.
So
The idea would be cool if it's a co-op slash multiplayer game that you're both trying to kind of one is the hunter, one is the hunted. That would be kind of cool.
yeah, but that's not co-op then. That's
Yeah, then it
versus.
would be multiplayer. Yeah, or
Yeah.
maybe that the game eventually pushes you toward that you have to work together or something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
I hope this. I hope Arcane Studio sticks the landing. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Dishonored and Dishonored 2 were pretty good games, so I think that this will probably turn out well. I think that they have to be clear around the messaging.
Hmm. And speaking of messaging, Hitman 3.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
That's coming out in January 2021. I don't know, but I think it will be episodic like the previous Hitman 1 and 2 because that was also episodic. But we don't
I
know about
I
that.
don't think so because they got a lot of flack of making it episodic.
I thought because they made it episodic, it was interesting because also they as a studio could benefit from it. Otherwise, because if they don't find a publishing deal, they basically can't make a game. And by making it episodic, I've seen sales numbers for because of the episodic part, and it was apparently better than releasing a full box game.
Really?
Yeah, it was a there was a documentary on it on NoClip, and they go in depth around why they changed their model to an episodic game, and it was kind of a make or break moment for them. If that wouldn't work, the studio would go bankrupt, and it worked out really well for them.
All right, good
Yeah,
for them.
yeah,
They teased that they were going to show a little bit of gameplay, but they didn't.
it was
At
like a
least,
really quick show reel, maybe like 30 seconds.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Don't like that. That is also a thing. Don't say like you're going to show something and then half-ass it. That
yep,
just reminds me of the Xbox thing.
yep. Looking at
But that looked really cool, and it's also concluding that storyline that they started out with that with the previous games.
yep.
So I think they called it the World Assassin storyline.
Yep, because it's
Yeah. So
kind of like a asymmetrical, interconnected world, and it's. I have both the games. I have not put a lot of time in, but it's pretty cool. It has this kind of live game element to it, which is pretty cool because they introduce, for example, assassination missions that are only available for a certain period of time, and they're still woven into the story. So you kind of want to finish it before the mission disappears.
mm,
Um,
cool.
they showed NBA 2K21. I'm not a basketball player game kind of guy.
That was in engine according to them.
Yeah, but you know what the funny
Uh,
thing is, and that's kind of the thing that was with let me say like I don't know if it's 50%, but with a couple of the games that I saw, I thought this game could easily be a PS4 game, or this game
yeah.
could easily run on PS4. Because with NBA, I really had the idea that they added some things in there to make it look like a PS5 game, like the sweat drops and stuff like that, or maybe the details in the shoe. But his face and his facial animations and the detail in his face, that could easily run off a PS4.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the games that do seem like they are either going to be multi-platform or multi-generational are the ones from third parties. So,
Yeah.
you can't really fault them for that.
No,
Um,
no, I mean, yeah. We're also in
yeah.
a transitional period because we're going to see that with a lot of games, it's going to be easier for developers to focus a little bit on the PS5 version or to crank a few dials up, but not actually put the time and effort into it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And going back to, not going back to actually, this one was published by Gearbox.
Yep.
Godfall, which was shown in quotes at the Game Awards last year.
Yeah.
Now we have a full reveal trailer, and it looks at least a whole lot less generic than that reveal trailer.
Yeah. I kind of
It
like
looks
it.
interesting.
Yeah. One of the things that stood out is that the armor that the characters wear is super, super detailed.
Also,
Um,
super super shiny.
Yeah, so it really reminded me of like a Dynasty Warriors kind of game, which I personally love. Um,
Hmm.
so I'm actually it's coming out this holiday season, 2020, so it'll probably be a launch game. I was actually pretty excited when I saw this trailer. With the first one, I was like, meh, it's pretty generic, as you said. But when I saw the gameplay trailer, I was like, okay, this could be interesting.
Yeah, I'm at least intrigued by it.
Yeah,
I'm still holding my reservations on it, but it looks intriguing.
yeah. And that I think, yeah, there were some indie games in there. Goodbye Volcano High. I have no idea what that was about.
I have also no idea. It seems like a visual novel kind of thing. It kind of reminds me of that Square Enix game that they published. That the life is. It kind of reminded me of Life is Strange,
Yeah,
but hand drawn,
yeah,
and instead of human beings, mythical creatures that are humanoid.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird.
yeah.
Um,
I don't know.
yeah, I mean, there were a bunch of other stuff that also kind of really threw me off.
Jet the
Like
Far Shore?
the what now?
Jet the Far Shore?
Jet the fart. Oh, right. Yeah.
That
Thank
was
you.
also something like, okay, it's also coming out this year. I'm like, I don't know. I almost thought it was a Dead Company kind of game, the guys behind Flower and behind Journey, but it's
Mm,
something completely else.
yeah. Yeah. That looked. Yeah, that looked weird.
Yeah, and Solar Ash as well. It was that was one of those really artistic games, but I thought, man, this could be well just will be a PSN downloadable game.
Yeah. Solar Ash is coming from the guys that brought us Hyper Light Drifter, which that one was a pixel art game. So this is I think their first fully 3D game that they're releasing, which is really cool.
Yeah,
Um, also, Jet the Far Shore was done by the guys. Was this one done by the guys that did? Um, was it this one? I think it was. I think this one was done by the guys that did what's it called again? Sword and Sorcery.
don't know, doesn't ring a bell.
It's that was an indie title that came to like pretty much everything. It started off on iOS.
Okay,
Has really amazing. It has a really amazing soundtrack that was also pixel art 2D.
okay.
Um, or am I thinking of something else? I think that was Jet.
I don't
Like
know.
the music is like totally out there. Um, so yeah, that was super weird. There
Yeah,
were a lot of super weird games, by the
yeah.
way.
Bug
Like little
Snacks.
Bucks.
What the hell was that?
Your nightmares for the week.
Yeah, it's from the developer behind Octodad, and I'm like, okay, Octodad was pretty cool. I never played it, but it looked really cool. But this is just so freaking weird.
Yeah. So bugs that have merged, I think, or a new species of bugs that are edible foods. They can be fruit, they can be hamburgers, apparently.
Yep.
Um, they can be just a rack of uh,
So,
ribs,
your
like,
sausages.
and when you eat them, they become part of your body.
Yeah, that was so weird.
That was really weird. And they apparently can Voltron together to become some kind of disgusting food
Horrifying.
homunculi.
Yeah. The end was kind of like a horror game. Like, oh my god, what's
Yeah,
happening here? You know?
no kidding.
Yeah. The
Uh,
little devil inside looked actually really interesting.
I don't know what was going on there.
Me neither, but
They,
I
can
really
you
liked it.
because the trailer is really interesting because it starts off with this old man just going about his daily life, and then it suddenly cuts to this explorer doing like really cool exploring things, fighting enemies, like fighting creatures and exploring, and then it keeps cutting back to the old man doing mundane stuff.
You know what I just
To which,
realized? Maybe the old man is the future version and the younger guy is the past version?
see, that's what I thought, but I don't think so. What I think,
No?
if you take it away from the title, "Little Devil Inside,"
Yeah.
I think it's part of his imagination.
I don't know. But it looked really, really stylish. I like the
Oh
art
yeah,
direction.
yeah. The
And
art direction is real
it
nice.
kind of reminded me of a Monster Hunter, Breath of the Wild kind of game.
It was really pretty and was really weird, and
I think
like
it's an
there's a
open
giant
world
cat
game.
that could. I don't know. Like
Looks
there's
like
not
open
enough
world, yeah.
information in that makes me go like that was open world. Um, it looked weird. Like it looked interesting enough for me to go like, okay, that looks really cool. Um,
I want to play this one.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Like
Yeah.
that one, I do like. I totally looking forward to that one as well.
There's also a bit
Speaking of,
stupid humor in, which is kind of funny because there's the one part that he's on the toilet and then he drops something and then the older guy takes a dump. It's really funny.
that was so well timed.
Yeah.
The dude drops a bomb and it just it's like it's
Yeah,
a
yeah, drops a
turd.
turd. Yeah, I love that one.
Like, oh, that's so weird
Yeah.
and gross. Um, yeah. Speaking of weird, Stray, also another indie title published from Annapurna Interactive.
That one looked actually pretty cool.
That looked pretty cool, and
I think it was
by
running at 60
Annapurna
FPS.
standards, what?
I think it was running at 60 FPS. It looked really smooth.
You couldn't tell because the whole stream was 30.
Yeah, but like it felt like 60 because the way that the characters were animated and the motion was really smooth.
Oh, I'm assuming that most of these games are running at 60 frames. It's just you can't tell
Well, we don't
because
know
they
because
chose to run it at.
Assassin's Creed is going to run at 30 on the next gen, which is a strange
Yeah.
move.
Well, again, Assassin's Creed is a cross generation thing, so I don't think
Yeah,
that one we should like hedge our bets on that one,
yeah,
displaying what next gen is supposed to look like. But Stray is where you play as a cat in a robot society.
that looked really cool. A friend, I was
That
talking
looked
to a friend.
really weird.
A friend said, "Oh, I've always wanted play as a cat. Now I finally can." I'm like, hey, I like this
Hey,
organization.
if you wanna play as a cat, you can always play cat lateral damage.
I've never
Just
heard of
saying.
that
Also disclaimer: I am a
Kickstarter backer.
Kickstarter backer for that. So still fun time playing as a cat, throwing things about. But this looks really futuristic because you're this. I don't know if the cat was a cyborg because he had some seemingly augmentation stuff on him, but the whole society is just robots with LED screens for faces.
Yep.
It gave me some serious Chappie vibes.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, and then it panned out, and you see the cat, and then you see the title, and you're like, oh wait, so the cat is what you're playing as, not as one of the robots in this
yeah,
society.
that can be
Oh,
fun.
that was weird.
Yeah,
Could be interesting. You know, the probably one of the last few um organic creatures in this weird society.
yeah. They showed a game called Destruction All Stars, which is a PvP destruction derby game. Kind of, yeah.
When I saw it, and I first I thought it was a reboot of the Destruction Derby franchise,
I thought it was
which it's
Rocket League
not.
or something like that.
It looks a lot. It does remind me a lot of
Yeah,
Rocket League.
it almost felt like a tech demo on how destruction would work on next gen consoles.
Yeah, it could be. I
Yeah,
mean, I mean, yeah, it could be. I don't know.
yeah,
It, it it's one of those things that really is trying to crib from the what's the Blizzard game called again? Overwatch slash
yeah,
Fortnite kind of art style thing.
yeah,
Like they're really trying to go for the personality,
yeah.
which is fine. As long as the game's good, it's fine. But
It's not my kind of game, so I won't buy it.
I don't know. I mean, if there's a demo or something, I'll give it a try at the very least. But
Yeah,
yeah, didn't seem like my kind of jam. What did seem like my kind of jam was Kenna Bridge of Spirits.
that is that's the
That
first game that completely caught me by surprise.
dude, that game is gorgeous.
It looks like a Pixar animation movie.
Exactly.
And maybe it's because the
This
guys that started
like
the studio are from the animation and the film business.
I'm not gonna lie. This is the first game that I felt when I saw the action happening live, because it's actual gameplay
That was next gen.
that truly felt next gen.
Yeah, and not the obvious next gen, but like next gen in all the ways, not just
Yes.
in I don't know, pretty graphics, but like details, worlds, uh, animation. Yeah, I'm still mind blown. I'm looking at it right now again. I'm like, okay, I really want to play this. I'm just afraid that this is one of those games that will come out in 2 years' time.
Yeah, this didn't have a date, did it?
Nope.
It's developed by Ember Labs. I don't think
Oh,
I've
it's
ever
the
heard of
exclusive
them.
for PS5.
Oh, well, it shows.
But it says console exclusive for a limited time, also available on PC.
Ah, okay, there we go.
But still, it's nice.
Yeah, that is. Nice.
Yeah,
Let me see if we can find anything about the developer real
it was.
quickly.
I'm still amazed. It just looked so nice.
I think this is their first game.
It could be because
Oh, it
they
says PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4.
what?
Yeah. And Epic Game Store.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. What? PS4? Okay.
Oh, they're the guys that did that thing? So a couple of years ago there was this demo reel where they showed like a high quality render for Majora's Mask, Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
They're the guys that did that.
Oh wow. That's nice.
Yeah. Wow. Oh
Wow.
wow. Okay. So like the skills are there because that thing is amazing.
Nice.
Especially the cute little black creatures with the big eyes. They're so cute and huggable. I
Mm,
kind of want to plushie of the thing.
it'll probably come out. Pre-order bonus.
Well, they do have a figure of it on their website.
Well, there you go. House Marquee showed Returnal, which in one point I thought, okay, this also looks next gen. For example, the main character's face looks pretty photorealistic, but
Hmm.
then there were other parts where I thought, man, this could run on a PS4.
Hmm.
But it's a game. You're a woman in space, an astronaut, and
And you're pulling an edge of tomorrow.
yeah, you're stuck in this loop. You keep on dying, and you're on an alien planet, and you're starting to lose yourself and become part of the planet because influences from the planet merge together with your body. I really got an alien vibe from it, but it could be nice.
Yeah, it looked interesting. It was a third person shooter.
Yeah,
Um,
Mass Effect.
and apparently every time you, at least from what we can gather from the trailer, every time you die, the planet isn't the same. It changes with you.
Yeah, so maybe procedural generated there.
Yeah.
This is, I think, a classic for a lot of people. Odd World Soulstorm. I played that on the PS1 at the time.
That trailer was very high octane. I don't remember like the Oddworld series being high octane. That was really like high stakes kind of stuff, and they actually showed gameplay. There were a lot of followers following Abe
Yeah,
that died gruesome deaths.
yeah, that was um,
Kind of makes me wonder why on earth would you ever follow Abe if all that happens is if you follow him is that you die.
isn't that what a lot of leaders, that people that follow them don't know that they might actually lose their lives, and the leaders sometimes don't?
I guess, but is he a leader though? Is he?
Well, they made him a leader, or at least they're acting like he's a leader.
Yeah.
This one was a surprise. It kind of reminded me of a Mario game, Sackboy: A Big Adventure. It's
Mm-hmm.
a co-op 3D platformer game.
Not developed by Media Molecule, by the way.
No, by Sumo Digital.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Japan Studio, I believe, also.
Yep.
But
Wait, really?
maybe when I saw it, I thought like, okay, I played Little Big Planet one, and it was fun. But the problem I had with Little Big Planet is that there is so much stuff in there to be able to create that it's overwhelming. And I've seen amazing things being created
Yeah,
because
I don't think this one has a creation feature in
no,
it.
but that's where I'm trying to get. I think that the Little Big Planet universe needs a game like this so that people can get into touch with that and still have a fun experience, because the second Little Big Planet, and I think also the third, there should be a third Little Big Planet. Every game kept adding on top of the first one, so it became more options. You could create more games and blah 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 blah. And let me quickly check that. Yeah, Little Big Planet 3. It's a PS4 game.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was checking that too.
yeah. It was also developed by Sumo Digital. That's funny.
Huh. Alright.
Um,
Yeah, because they were working on Dreams.
yeah, but like it was every game was so overwhelming, and if you're not this really creative person that loves to stick hours in creating their own levels or their games, it's basically not a game for you. Whereas this feels like, hey, this is something I could just enjoy with a friend on the couch or everybody at his place, and then we could just have a fun experience while we're playing this.
Hmm.
And then
Yeah, I mean, as long as they don't adopt the horrible, horrible physics-based platforming that was in the original games, because that didn't. Honestly, I did not like that at all because it felt super floaty.
yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. There's no release date for it yet, I believe.
Nope.
And then we get to the creme de la creme, and we'll save the last one, the best one for last. At least I think it's the best one, but it was also the most obvious one. So there was a Ratchet and Clank announcement, Rift Apart.
Hmm.
Also looked really stylish, like a Pixar animation movie. I think they added a lot of destructible objects into the world, so it literally looked like you could almost destroy anything.
They also added dimension hopping.
Yeah, dimension hopping, and I think also something with an alternate universe, or it looked like that. Uh,
Well, it seems like that was teased at the end.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, it supports ray tracing because there's ray tracing reflections on Clang's head.
Hmm.
Um, I think that like this is basically I can't imagine this game failing because Ratchet and Clank has always been good, and Insomniac knows how to make good Ratchet and Clank games. So I think that the game is a guaranteed hit. We just have to wait till it comes out. There's no release date for it yet. Another game that they're making, which they showed after GTA 5, was Marvel's Spider-Man, Miles Morales.
Miles Morales. Oh man, I saw that. I was like win, done, done, done. Like
Wow,
even if that was all they showed for me, it's like yeah, 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 put that there. Like
I've never seen you so
just give me
excited for
that.
a PlayStation game
Just give me that.
before.
Well, well, that and I'm a big Miles Morales fan, so
Ah, I didn't know.
yeah.
But yeah, so the only vibe I got from it, or the only thing that I thought in my head when I saw it was one is this could definitely run on a PS4, and two, um, it feels like it feels like Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. Uncharted: The Lost Legacy was DLC that got out of hand because of the immense amount of content they added to it that they decided to make an expansion out of it. Yeah, I think it's the same with Breath of the Wild too. There was so much content added to it that they decided to make a sequel out of it. This feels like the DLC that was going to be made.
Lost Legacy is the one that starred Chloe, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
making sure.
This
Yeah.
feels like this was going to be DLC for Spider-Man 4 or to 1, and it got out of hand, and they decided to make a Miles Morales version of it, expansion. They'll probably charge you $60 for it, but it kind of feels like it.
I don't know. We didn't. We saw some glimpse. I don't think we saw enough of that game to even feel like if that was the case because
Yeah,
I
because
think because I haven't finished Spider-Man 5 Spider-Man 5 Spider-Man 5. I haven't finished Spider-Man yet, but um did like the only question I have in that one, did that have an open or closed ending?
I will not comment on that.
Well, see, there you go.
It's simply
So yeah, since we don't know like what the deal was there, I don't know. I don't think that it was I don't think that this is like a DLC kind of thing. Um,
if you look at it, Spider-Man came out in 2018. That's 2
mhm.
years of development time. Um,
There wasn't a date announced for this, was there?
holiday 2020.
Really?
Yep.
Huh.
That's why I get that feeling because if we kind of look at the bigger picture, let me just quickly look up the date for the other one because, Horizon Zero Dawn came out in 2017.
Yeah. But you also have to take into account that they have been helping with the development of Death Stranding. So
But that's like minimal. It's not that there was a
no,
huge.
because they had to provide the engine and they did actual development for the game
Yeah,
itself.
but it's not like the whole of Gorilla worked on
No, 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 no.
it.
Of
It's
course
like
not.
a
Of course
small
not.
team that did it. So like they would still have additional resources supporting Kojima. That's what I've
No.
read online.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I mean, pretty
Spi
much.
Spider-Man feels like it'll probably be a good game, but it feels like DLC that got out of control and became um, an expansion. I don't think it's
You
gonna.
know, it could also be just because. Could also just be that they're using the same engine but souped up for PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see on that one.
Yeah.
And
Because
then
why build a new engine from scratch if you have an engine that already exists?
no, but I get that part. It's just that like if you look at the sheer size of Spider-Man, I don't think it could be like that they built that in 2 years time.
Hmm. Yeah. Um.
And the last one, the one we kind of knew was going to happen, and they
Yeah.
finally showed it.
Speaking of Guerrilla Games,
Yep, Horizon Two,
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Forbidden
Oh,
West,
not Zero Dawn. Sorry. What's the new title? Horizon
Forbidden West.
Forbidden West.
Oh my god,
Nice.
that looked so amazing.
That looked really amazing.
Yep,
That feels see that one actually felt like open world.
yep. And you know, it's Horizon Zero Dawn cranked up all the way to 20
Mm-hmm.
because it's just it looks amazing. It feels amazing because I think they're going to discover more of America. They have like actual American landmarks in it, such as the Golden Gate Bridge from San Francisco,
Mm-hmm.
and it just there's you can explore worlds underwater. You saw Aloy using a respirator, just swimming on the water. You saw her in all sorts of environments, running on a I don't know the name of the mount. She was just running through a kind of like a deserty kind of environment. Um, it's I think it's yeah. I mean, people wouldn't expect any less. I think from Guerrilla when they do a Horizon Zero Dawn sequel, but I think that they're focusing more on doing more in the world this time. There's also
Mm-hmm.
more life in the world because in the last game, for example, you saw crabs, you saw fish. It feels like there's more going on in the world. Basically, the story is that there's this kind of a infection or this red strain of something going through the world and corrupting
Yeah, I mean it's the
people.
corruption from the first game, but it seems like dang it, what's his name again? Um
Hades,
hmm?
Hades.
No, no, not Hades. We destroyed Hades.
Oh yeah, yeah, but like they're hinting at
No, the guy that guided you to Hades.
Cipher.
Thank you.
Yeah,
He's the one who's behind this crap.
I don't know.
Yeah, because you see in the trailer that some followers are like corrupting machines
Yeah.
with the same stuff that corrupted Hades.
I by the
So I
way,
think he found the source of that corruption or a new source of that corruption and he's now like in charge. Like
you
he's trying to destroy the world for some weird stupid reason.
You do know that in Horizon Zero Dawn, at the end, at the after credit scene, Cypher captures Hades in like a container, right?
Oh yeah, wow, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does kind of does it. Well, he didn't capture Hades himself. I think he captured the virus.
Hades kind of left some. He's like shot out of something, and then he had
Right,
to
and then he
destroy that
captured them
infection.
in that thing. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. You're right. You're right. 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 Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
It wasn't a virus. It was Hades.
yeah.
Yeah.
I initially thought it was maybe something Uncharted because I gave a kind of an Uncharted vibe when the trailer starts. But then you hear Aloy, and you're like, yeah, this is Horizon Zero Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? And I think a lot of people. I think that's the big takeaway from this reveal is that a lot of people expect next gen games to be photorealistic, and
Mm-hmm.
I think yes, we will definitely get that. But I think that one thing that we will see more than photorealistic is more detail. So like you saw it in Godfall, you saw it in Horizon Zero Dawn. The world is far more believable because there is so much detail in it. Like in the water segment, the underwater segment looks so detailed. You see coral, you see fish, and all different kinds of sea animals swimming, and it's all sharp and detailed. There's no weird, blurry textures, or they're not trying to make it look pretty. It is actually pretty.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can't speak to like the third party games that we saw because odds are they'll either appear on PC or on Xbox as well.
Yeah,
But the ones that do show that like it's exclusive or timed exclusive, or if it was from PlayStation itself or one of their development studios, wow.
By the way,
They showed that PlayStation Studio logo a lot.
yeah. By the way, I'm looking at the Horizon trailer in 4K now because the stream was 1080p.
Oh, they have it in 4K.
Yeah, I think they have everything in 4K. It looks really amazing in 4K.
Wow. All right. I don't have a 4K panel to look at it, so
I can tell you, it is amazing.
eh. That one was a pre-rendered cutscene, pre-rendered trailer though. So
Yeah, but I think it's in engine. I don't think it will be a lot. The end product won't be off a lot from what we're seeing right now.
yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm assuming it won't be.
No, 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 no,
Um,
no. Let's get this straight. It will not be different. It
sure, dude.
Let me put it this way: if you look at how Death Stranding looks on a PS4 and a PS4
Mm-hmm.
Pro, then you
Mm-hmm.
definitely know that this will definitely be what they're showing us to be.
Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was basically it. As I said, I think that Sony did a great job of providing a mix between indie and triple A.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, maybe less vague, strange games next time.
Yeah, or at least give a bit more context.
Yeah,
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 yeah. So I think we're both in agreement that the thing that unexpectedly blew us away was Kenna.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
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 I think like
and
Horizon Zero Dawn is. I think we both knew going into this that it was going to be shown.
yeah,
So it was like a sure thing. And I think Kenna was a really, really nice surprise. Little Big Devil or Little Devil Inside or whatever it's called.
yeah.
That one is
Looks
cool.
funkadelic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The House Marquee game, Returnal, looks interesting.
looks interesting.
Um, like if I were to say like, will I buy all the games Sony showed? No, but that's
Nah.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not a GT guy. I mean, sure. I mean, they had the obligatory stuff that they had to have. They had to have first party games, which they did. They had to have a racing game, which they did in GT. They had to have a sports game, which they chose to partner with 2K in this case. So they had that. They had the NBA 2K. Um,
I'm just looking at this trailer and it looks so amazing.
And I think, at least in terms of obligatory stuff, we saw it, and then we saw, of course, the sequel stuff. The only thing that was a remake was Demon Souls, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are happy considering that that was probably gonna be an exclusive. Um, so yeah, um, the only thing I can say is, as we wrap up, um, way better than what Microsoft did.
Yeah,
So they've got their work cut out for them in July. Um, we finally saw the consoles, and which we didn't expect. We at most we thought we were only going to see one box and that's it. But we saw we saw a variation of the console itself. One with a disc drive, one without. We saw accessories which I wasn't expecting.
hmm
Um, And yeah, games that we weren't expecting, games that we did expect, games that we were hoping to see. And, you know, the holidays is around the corner. So we're going to see more and more going from this point onward.
I honestly can't wait for it to be holiday 2020 because I really just want to sink my teeth into this all. The only thing that I'm missing right
Mm,
now is like a killer exclusive that you definitely want to play on day one, and Spider-Man might be that, but I'm not like for example when the PS4 came out, my game that I really wanted to play on day one was Killzone Shadowfall
mm,
and Watch Dogs, but that one got postponed. And I'm seeing a lot of amazing games. I would love Horizon Zero Dawn to be that game, or Horizon Forbidden West to be that game, but that's not going to happen. I think.
yeah, I don't think so
Uh,
either.
yeah, so like it looks like it's going to have to be Spider-Man, other or Sony has to kind of show up all first party games out of a. They have to pull them out of a hat. I'll probably go and play Ghost of Tsushima because um, Though what Sony did in the meanwhile is that they changed their certification process. So after, I believe, July 13th or July 15th, if you release a game or you submit a game for certification to Sony, that game needs to support PS5. So it needs to be PS5 compatible. Um, every game that is submitted before July 13th um, can get a patch or doesn't necessarily have to have that PS5 support. The funny thing is that both Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima are being submitted before that date. Um, but being Sony games, they will probably get the support
Yeah, no doubt about
shied on.
it.
And I mean, like, if Ghost of Tsushima looks amazing, because I said this last time, with Ghost of Tsushima, I really had the idea this could be a PS5 launch game, and
Mm,
honestly, I kind of hope they do something special for it. They'll probably do something for The Last of Us. Um, yeah, with the upcoming months and weeks, we'll have a lot of events, so we'll just have to wait and see if something else pops up in there that we just really, really want to play.
yeah. Good on you, Sony. You impressed me. You impressed me. It did not disappoint, which I honestly still felt like it might disappoint, but it did not. So
I think that
kudos.
Microsoft will probably try to
One up them.
one up them and make their ones leak. So they'll maybe say, okay, we also have two boxes, and we also have a release date, and on top of that, we have a prize. Booyah! And now it's up to you, Sony.
I don't think I don't think we're gonna see price from Microsoft, to
I
be
don't think
honest.
so. I think they're gonna wait it out until Sony announces it, and then they're gonna undercut Sony
Yeah, I think that's what they're kind of
because
going
that's
for.
the
But
only way they.
that's gonna be interesting because since they now showed that they have two boxes, which one are you gonna undercut? The one with or without a disc?
Oh, they'll probably do the same strategy. They'll probably say, okay, okay, we need to take out the disk drive. Ah, why didn't we think of this? Or they'll just say, well, we have the Xbox Series X, but we also have the Xbox Series S.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that's the rumors that have been going around, and right now that's all we have. So who knows? Yeah. Um. Cool. Then I guess. Do you have anything else to add? Because I think I'm pretty much tapped out.
Yeah, I'm just pretty excited. I can't wait. I just want to get my hands on a PS5. I'm not. I was initially thinking I'll get the digital edition. I'm not sure yet. I hope that the digital edition has more space, but I don't
Do
think
keep
so.
in mind that considering the way it was set up, I don't think you can actually put this on a horizontal mode.
Oh, that's okay. I have my PS4 Pro on a stand as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, better airflow.
I guess.
Yeah.
um yeah, so I guess that's if you don't have anything else, I guess that's it.
Why don't
Um
you take us out?
yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to this extra long episode of Game Rivals. Um yeah, PlayStation decided to do the review, so we had to cover it. You know that we had to, and it was big. So thank you for sticking with us. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You can always find us, as always, at our home at Anchor, but you can also find us on any other podcasting service. You can find us on Apple Podcast, Google Play, or Google Podcasts, I guess it's called now. You can find us on Overcast, Stitcher, Spotify, Pocket Cast, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you have any feedback, we appreciate it. You can always send us feedback at gamerivalsfeedback at gmail.com. You can also send us feedback through our Twitter, which is at game underscore rivals underscore. You can send me feedback on Twitter, which is at Maximilian. We also have a Instagram where we do our best to post whenever we're going to upload or anything interesting pops up in our feed, which is at Game Rivals, all one word. You can also leave us a voice message. The link is in the description of the episode. You don't need an account at Anchor. You can just click on the link, send us a voice message, and we might even feature on one of our episodes. You can also, wow, did I forget something?
I'm thankful.
Oh, right. You can also follow our stuff on YouTube. We will be uploading more stuff there regularly. You might also catch some highlights of episodes. So if you feel like you want to watch, we want something to watch on YouTube, we'll do that as well. We'll also feature some conversations on there as well outside of the episodes of the podcast. And I think that is about it. Sean Templar, do you
Yeah.
have anything else to say to the lovely audience?
People better start saving their monies and get ready to buy a PS5 because that's the place to be for next gen.
Ooh, them's his fighting words. I hope the Xbox fans don't have our heights for that one.
If they do what they did with the Inside Xbox, we PlayStation fans have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, it's the ball's in Microsoft's court now.
Yeah,
So, cool. And with that, I am Maximilian X,
and I'm a super excited Sean Templar.
and we're signing off and have a good one.